Hello XRP community, welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me. I want to talk about some bullish indicators for a general crypto upswing. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says some very bullish things about crypto and admits he was wrong. Some XRP price analysis and predictions from respected analysts. And then a clip from a great XRP content creator, Waters Above, outlining some alarming things on the XRP chart and why he's really bullish. So July 13th was a big day for Ripple last year. Brad Garlinghouse came out and talked about it. It was when they got the court ruling. He said it was a very good day for Ripple and the entire industry. For me personally, a core memory. We had the conviction to fight the bully that has harassed and executed an unlawful war on our industry. As I said when it started, I knew we were on the right side of the law and that we would be on the right side of history. In the year since, Gensler's SEC has ramped up its war on crypto with the false belief that they could smother this technology and industry with failed lawsuits, false rhetoric, slander, and intimidation. They were wrong then, and they are wrong now. Stuart Alderati, the chief general counsel for Ripple, also tuned in. Here are his reflections. He says, first and foremost, it was a watershed moment to find as a matter of law a token, in this case XRP, in and of itself is not a security. This decision led to a separate of others, most recently in the Binance case, that recognized the SEC's gross overreach and lack of a faithful allegiance to the law under Chair Gary Gensler. The courts have provided a much-needed check on the SEC's behavior, but clarity on a token-by-token basis through interminable litigation is unacceptable. Policymakers on both sides of the aisle are getting increasingly frustrated with the lack of legislative progress on crypto as the US continues to fall behind the rest of the world. While our case as a whole isn't fully over, the court's ruling that XRP is not a security will not change. Don't be distracted by the SEC's continued efforts to mire Ripple and the industry in the litigation trenches. The runway is running out for the SEC. Ripple and the entire industry has and will emerge stronger long after Chair Gary Gensler is gone. A crazy day yesterday in the USA with ex-President Donald Trump. Politics aside, it's never good when violence is interjected into the political space, so it's good to see that this guy is okay. And a lot of crazy theories going around this, but I just wanted to give my shout out to this guy for a very crazy day yesterday. Now, a few general things on the Bitcoin space and the general crypto landscape. US Bitcoin miners are holding their Bitcoin. It's very expensive to mine Bitcoin. It costs a lot of power, and typically these miners will hold Bitcoin when they're bullish on the price, and they'll sell their Bitcoin to pay for transaction fees and power costs when they're not bullish on Bitcoin. It says Marathon Digital Holdings, one of the biggest US Bitcoin miners, didn't sell any of its Bitcoin in June. This decision marks a growing trend in the US-based Bitcoin miners who are choosing to keep the Bitcoin they mine rather than sell it. Marathon is not the only US miner accumulating Bitcoin right now. Riot Platforms has not sold any Bitcoin since January, while CleanSpark has only sold small amounts. Given that these firms mine hundreds of Bitcoin every month, the clear trend among the big US mining firms is accumulation. So that's always good to see. Another bullish story, these ETFs, they've captured 17.8 billion in crypto inflows this year. Regionally, the US with 1.3 billion for the week, although the positive sentiment was seen across all other countries, most notable being Switzerland, Hong Kong, and Canada. This was the 5th largest week of crypto inflows, so it doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. Meanwhile, short Bitcoin-related investment products experienced their largest weekly outflows, so people are not going short on Bitcoin, which you could deduce was pretty bullish for the price. Recently, the Bitcoin price did have a big slump, and a lot of that was due to CoinShares saying we believe price weakness due to the German Bitcoin sales. Germany, their government has been selling a bunch of Bitcoin that they acquired, not by buying it, but by confiscating it from illegal entities. And a turnaround in sentiment due to lower than expected CPI in the US prompted investors to add to positions. Bitcoin bandit Larry Fink, the BlackRock CEO, says he was wrong. It's always good when people can adjust their worldview, admit they were wrong, and not be hard-headed. And he calls Bitcoin digital gold. This just came out a few minutes ago on CNBC, so take a listen to this. But this is probably the most influential financier in the world. He runs the world's largest hedge fund, so take a listen.
I know you have been a leader in willing to embrace crypto. You have made it so that people can be in Bitcoin. We hear that you are thinking about Ethereum. These are incredible things. Now, BlackRock is not known as a gunslinger by any means. So you obviously must believe that this maybe is an alternative. Is this an alternative in order to be able, because of a deficit, maybe something long-term people should have?
Absolutely. As you know, I was a skeptic.
Yes.
I was a proud skeptic. And I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument that allows you to have maybe uncorrelated, non-correlated type of returns. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. Right. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency, debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence, and if you have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at. I look at it as digital gold, as I said before, and I do believe there's a real need for everyone to look at it as one alternative to, I would say, the optimism that I have in the world. If you want to hedge hope, Bitcoin is not an instrument for hope unless you're hopeful you're going to make a lot of money on it. But I look at it as a vehicle in which you're expressing your financial acumen in something that you're more.
So big praise from the world's largest hedge fund manager calling Bitcoin digital gold, which is bullish for not just Bitcoin, but the whole crypto space. Getting that confirmation stamp of approval from such a big, influential financier like Larry Fink is nothing to scoff at. And he talks about it's a good asset when you have big economies debasing their currency. You look at the USA, the world reserve currency, printing more dollars in the past 4 years than the previous century combined. And it's not just the USA. All of these global economic powers are printing money like it's going out of style. And so something like Bitcoin that has a finite supply and other cryptocurrencies is not a bad idea, what Larry Fink says. Some updates about Ripple and their stake in other companies. Ripple has sold a 40% stake in Tranglo. There hasn't been an official announcement, so people are taking this with a grain of salt. Crypto Erie came out and said Crunchbase updated Ripple investment exits. Bitstamp was a company they had invested in, and they exited. They're assuming that this is probably due to Robinhood acquiring Bitstamp. But Tranglo was more of a surprise. It was a company where Ripple held a 40% stake, and Tranglo used Ripple's on-demand liquidity service a lot. Here you see in 2022, Tranglo processed approximately $970 million through Ripple's ODL service, compared to just $53 million in the previous period. Ripple's lack of an official statement on its reasons for the exit have left the community with questions about the implication for the future of XRP and cross-border payments. So I'll cover this more if there's more news on it. But the Tranglo exit is a little bit of a mystery. If you guys want to support the channel and you want $41 for free, sign up with Webull, deposit 1 penny, and you're guaranteed $41 in free stocks. You can get up to $3,000, but typically you just get $40 to $300. It's a great offer just for signing up and depositing a penny. Sell your stocks, do whatever you want with that money. But you can find a link to Webull in the video description below. And an analyst identifies XRP's price path to heaven's stairway. Based on XRP's recent trajectory, crypto analyst Dark Defender has suggested that the token's technical indicators point to extreme bullishness, signaling a potential breakout. In a post on Twitter on July 14th, he began with a confirmation of a highly bullish reversal for XRP, marked by the weekly approval of the Fisher indicator. If you don't know what the Fisher indicator is, it's a technical indicator that converts price into a Gaussian normal distribution. It highlights when prices have moved to an extreme based on recent prices. This may help in spotting turning points in the price of an asset. And when looking at the weekly chart, that's a pretty long-term time frame. To see a reversal like this, it does indicate bullish sentiment. He says it's crucial not to underestimate the master fundamental level for XRP, which is 66.4 cents. Above it, we can expect multiple God candles, which will open the path to heaven's stairway. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. And now I want to play you guys a clip of Waters Above. He's a great YouTuber, talks about XRP, and he mixes in a lot of numerical and astrological signs into his price analysis. He's very well respected. He has like a Patreon with a few hundred people paying him $100 a month. Doesn't mean he's always right, but he is one of the more smarter analysts that I follow. So take a listen to Waters Above.
As you can see over here, I have gone ahead and labeled each phase from the December 2013 peak until the final horizontal trading range that built up before XRP had this straight line breakout starting in the month of March in 2017, as mentioned in the post on X. I then labeled each corresponding phase to this current cycle we're in, starting with the January 2018 peak, which is XRP's current all-time high, and I mapped it all the way out until today. Whereas you can see we're in a very similar horizontal trading range, which also happens to be around a 30% range from resistance down to the macro support. So we're just going to explain each phase by phase, starting with phase number 1, which would be your buying climax, or where all the buying pressure is exhausted. This typically looks like a blow off top. You could see that matches perfectly to what we had over here back in the very beginning of 2018, kind of finalized by Q4 2017. Then we have this very arduous corrective phase coming down into the spring over here of this March C19 crash. You all remember it. And that matches perfectly with what's going on over here in phase 2. Of course, this happened much faster. That was a completely different market back then. It wasn't as mature. There weren't as many altcoins, etc. So then after phase 2, we go on to this next peak, which is very important to note that it's a lower high. So over here you have your higher high. This would be your lower high, kind of like a bull trap. It's a very, very exaggerated bull trap, of course, and this phase 3 over here for us was what was called the 2021 alt season, and it ended clearly with XRP not able to go into price discovery. It got that lower high at around $2, and then it moved into phase 4, which I had marked over here. It's essentially the bottom of that next bear market, and then we recover into this really long, arduous, tight trading range that I labeled as phase 5, which I believe we're currently in right now. So now that we've gone through the phases, let's focus on phase 5 specifically from the last cycle, which is the phase I believe that we're in now, as mentioned a moment ago. And it has this nuance of breaking slightly below the support line for a short period of time, followed by a kickback into resistance, confirming that this short-lived lower low in the horizontal trading range was a bear trap. And that's very important. And the reason why I'm saying that's very important is because I believe we are experiencing that as we speak. It looks like XRP is doing the same exact thing right now as I filmed today's video. This rejection off of support coming down into the rejection off of resistance coming down into the support, getting slightly below the support, as you can see, and that is what we have happening right now. Next would be seeing this kickback into our current resistance line. Also, another important thing to consider is from the first test at support back here in April 2016 until the breakout in March, it was around 350 days, as you can see. And if we had to compare when this first test at support happened in phase 5 for our current cycle, it would be mid to late August, right over here. You could see around August 20th of last year, 2023, which was right after this pump that happened over here in July, almost a year ago from today on July 13th, when Judge Torres deemed XRP was not a security. And in a single daily candle, XRP went up about 70% into the daily close. Pretty much from the daily open to the peak, the top of the wick was 100%. So we're essentially at a anniversary of that moment because that was exactly 1 year ago on July 13th. And that was considered the first big win for the Ripple SEC case. So if we take from that correction into support right around here, we measure over 350 days. To get the timing of this, you could see it brings us into early August, right around August 6th. And that's very important to mention because right now we're in July, making this a month away, less than a month pretty much. So let's keep this in mind. We're looking to the month of August in this year, 2024, for XRP to break above the resistance in phase 5, which is around 70 cents. And we would be really confident if we had a weekly close above 75 cents, which is the highest weekly close of 2013, which was also during the week when XRP was no longer deemed a security by the court jesters. So now let's go even deeper and add the esoteric elements to this analysis, which is why you all come to this channel in the first place. So when comparing the move in the past cycle and lining it up with today's cycle, it would show us around this early August timeframe would be the timeframe to expect XRP to come back to this resistance line at around 70 cents. And that would be that March 2017 moment that I was speaking about here in this post over on X. And early